It's my birthday. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, uh, but I am going to tell you that there is a perfect prime number and a lucky prime number involved. So it's going to be a good year, I think. More importantly, it's Feel Creative's birthday. So this is going to be a slightly longer video, but it's my birthday, so you have to watch. This is very, very, very special to me. A year ago today, I had long, glorious hair, and I decided to cut it off, citing something about
Newton's
Newton's
third
third law.
law. You gotta leave something behind.
And what I was trying to leave behind was this sort of old version of myself. I wouldn't say that I've been lost, but I've definitely been searching for what's next for me. And I think more importantly, like what actually is me, what has been me all along, and what my gift to the world can be, and also sort of understand can that gift uh, give back to me. And I think a lot of people, maybe even a lot of you, are on similar missions. And I think this is it. This feels really good. This is a special thing to me in my career, and many of the careers that I've had, all sort of centered around the visual storytelling world. I would often get brought into projects after people have already hired a couple of people before me, and then nail it. And I'm not bragging, but one of the things I started sort of looking into when I was searching was to understand why. Why is that? What's happening? Why was I needed in the first place? And then why was I successful in that way? And what I realized is that the problem that I was often being asked to solve wasn't to make a video or to write a script or develop a concept. The problem I was being hired to solve was that they had an idea that they didn't know how to express effectively. And the reason was because there was a communication block. Like one person either couldn't express it or one person couldn't interpret it and absorb it and convey it. More often than not, that was on the client side. And I think probably many of you can relate either from my position or from your position potentially as that client. And I started doing a lot of research about what are those sort of mental processes? What are those things that allow one to interpret their ideas into reality? What, to sort of capture and organize them effectively to then be able to translate that into reality. I found out it's quite a similar process to developing intuition. Intuition is essentially a cloud of data points that you've been collecting since you were born. And your brain, essentially, when it's greeted with a certain pattern that it's familiar with, like meeting a certain type of person or being in a certain type of environment, it goes, cool, I like this, or that doesn't feel good. And you don't think about it. You just kind of know somewhere that, oh, yeah, stay away, or let's do more of that. Creativity is very much the same. When you step into a situation and you're like, what are we trying to accomplish? What is this sort of projecting? What is this supposed to feel like in the end? Then you start to recognize all the elements that are in front of you through that lens. And then suddenly you have a sense of, oh, this feels good. That doesn't feel good. This feels good. That doesn't feel good. That's creativity. It's a guidance system. Design is problem solving and it's doing the technical execution of bringing something to life. But creativity is the knowing and understanding what you're trying to say and then protecting that feeling as you go through whatever process it is. And then when I realized that, I then understood what I was doing well this whole time. It wasn't working a camera, it wasn't editing, it wasn't these things. I was interpreting better. I was connecting the dots. I was seeing the fabric of how all the pieces and elements that they were sharing with me fit together and how to stitch that and produce it into the world. And so I started wondering, is that something that I can bottle on both sides of that? How can I help people learn to communicate better, to interpret themselves in a way that they can then convey into the world. And then on the other side, how can I help people learn to sort of investigate all of the clues and pieces of a given context and understand what the sort of subtextual relationships of all those pieces and parts and tools and elements available in that moment, how do they all fit together in a way that accomplishes what we're trying to do?
Data, data, data. I cannot make bricks without clay.
There's a technical name for this process, it turns out. It's called design creativity. That's what I'm teaching here. And what's, I think, really cool about this course is it is both for existing creatives and for non-creatives. This sort of builds a bridge between those two worlds that then situates you for communication and for ideation and creation in, I think, a really unique way. And the other thing that is very special about this is to develop this requires no talent, requires no skill, requires no experience or inspired, artistic, whatever. All it requires is that you have a close attention to your own sensory experience of the world through the lenses of design principles and through problem-solving techniques and approaches. That could be design and architecture and writing. It could also be the flavors you encounter in a meal, or the scent of a perfume, or the quality of touch that you receive during a wellness spa treatment. And if you start to identify these pieces as, oh, I like how this transition from this moment to this moment made me feel. And I like the contrast that these two elements created and the excitement that caused me to feel in that moment. When you start to recognize these connections, when you start to see the context and the effect of what all the pieces and parts and elements of your life around you can do, then it fundamentally changes the way that your brain works in a very similar way to how intuition functions. That same awareness rises up when you step into a creative challenge, when the goal is, oh, I need to understand a solution for this thing for which there is no procedure. You start to look at all the pieces and you recognize the story underneath the surface, and suddenly these connections reveal themselves and this constellation of a solution emerges. And that's design creativity. That's what I'm teaching here. People that have creative skills for a long time have been looking at the world through the lens of those skills. And most of those skills, they hinge on fundamental design principles that are universal across media and across industries. So that awareness is a part of their everyday walk through life. And if you haven't, then you have no idea. You've never put those glasses on. And so that's why Feel Creative was born, to help you with that process. And what's special about this is it does not require any creative or design experience whatsoever. What I'm teaching you to do is understand the basics of design and of storytelling, not through the lens of particular skills, but through observations that you make in your own sensory experience of the world around you. I think that's really a special thing about this course. And if that resonates with you, if you think that that's something you'd like to look into and learn a bit about, or perhaps even you have a client or a friend or somebody who sort of struggles with that ability to communicate and share and understand references and give criticism and this kind of thing, and then check it out. Starting today, birthday, and here's my birthday request, go to the website, because starting today, for those who are curious and want to check this out, Chapter 2, which is our first paid course, which will be going for at least $100 moving forward, is now 50% off. There's a code, 100 Creatives. And the first 100 people to use that code will get that 50% off. And not only that, those first 100 people will have an opportunity to get lifetime access to every product I ever make from here on out for free. Because I'm going to be doing an advanced principles course, which is going to be hours and hours and hours of really cool tools and unique sort of deep dives on various processes and communication tools and design principles. And then I'm also going to be doing a lot of modules around AI and creative collaboration with AI tools, and as well communication modules to help teams homogenize in their projects and things like this. And those are going to be far higher price points. And all I ask in return for that is a little testimonial. If you go through this course and you're like, holy shit, it's pretty good, then let me know and let the world know, because we can start spreading this in a really cool way. So yeah, it's my birthday, so that's all I want is if you feel a little bit curious about this, go check it out. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm gonna stop talking. Okay, FLCR.tv.